These are the games I played in September 2024, plus my channel is 1 year old. Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. Thanks for pressing play. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul, and these are the games that I played in September 2024. So I did this in August. I'm going to do it now. A few of the games that I've sort of played throughout this month. My gameplay time has been dominated mainly, I've got to admit, by one game, which I will save to the end. You may already know which game that is if you follow me on Instagram. But yeah, I'll save that one to the end. But I'll go through the other games that I played through this month. Now, like with September, August, I was right. This is September, although we're in October. Anyway, some of the games that I played this month, some of them I've just tried, some of them I've played a bit more of and tried to finish, some of them I've finished. And starting off, we'll go to Nintendo Corner, and a game that I showed you that I was playing last month, I have now finished. So, first game up is Luigi's Mansion 2 on the Nintendo 2DS. It's a 3DS game, but I've been playing it on the 2DS. Did say that I was playing this last month, and I have now finished it, and I really enjoyed this. I think it was really good. Excellent game. Do like Luigi's Mansion. I liked Luigi's Mansion 3, but I think of all of them, I think this is my favourite. I think this is the best one. Now, probably Luigi's Mansion 3 is probably the best. Probably. But I think my gameplay experience of that game was slightly skewed a little bit because I was playing it with really horrible drifty Switch control sticks, so probably didn't quite enjoy it quite as much as I should have. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoyed Luigi's Mansion 2. I thought it was really good, excellent game, thoroughly enjoyed it, and very much worth a playthrough if you like the other Luigi's Mansions games. I know there is a Switch HD remaster of this as well, so having played this, I would definitely consider picking it up on the Switch as well. So yeah, that's the first game that I played through and finished. Now, a lot of the games that I play are kind of influenced a little bit by what I do on YouTube as well. Now, I always say that my game collecting and my game hunting is not influenced by YouTube, so I don't buy stuff to create content. However, I do play stuff to create content to a degree. So some of the videos that you probably have seen from me in the last few months, you'll recognize one or two of these games that I'm going to show you, including these. So the last video I put out, I think it was the last video I put out, was my retro journey on the Nintendo GameCube, and I took you through my Nintendo GameCube collection. Now, while I was putting that video together, I obviously played one or two of the games again. Two of them actually for the first time. We'll cover those two first actually. So I'd never played this game before. I don't think I'd played it before anyway. I think I may have played, I honestly can't remember. It's going back that far. I may have played a little bit of it at some point, but I don't actually remember owning it before. I do own it now, and I did give it a quick go when I was making that GameCube video. And I've got to tell you, I actually really enjoyed it. And the game is Star Fox Adventures. So I've only really just scratched the surface of it. Really just sort of played about an hour or so. And I really enjoyed it. I think it's really quite good. I know when it came out, it didn't get great reviews. Possibly because I think it wasn't what people were wanting in a Star Fox game. Obviously, people wanted that kind of, shoot 'em up kind of game. And this isn't that. This is very much a rare collect 'em up kind of 3D platformer type game. And when you look at it like that, with the added bonus of having the Star Fox characters in it as well, I really enjoyed it. It still looks quite nice. It plays and handles really well. I mean, every game on the GameCube handles pretty well because the controller's so good. But yeah, I've really enjoyed playing that, and I am going to play more of it as well. So, Star Fox Adventures, that was the first Cube game. The next one was, this is a favourite of mine, so I did have to give this another go, F-Zero GX. Absolutely fantastic game. Again, I sort of covered these games a little bit in that video, so I won't go over too much, but F-Zero GX, arguably, well, technically, probably the best F-Zero game. My favourite is still probably F-Zero on the SNES, but F-Zero GX, fantastic game. And then these two I'd not played before. So these were kind of new to me. I got them a while ago, but I've just not had a chance to play them yet. The first one was PN03, product number 03. It's like a third-person shooter. A bit weird, but I quite enjoyed it, actually. It's not too bad. But yeah, interesting game. And then I also played, it's a puzzle game for the GameCube, ZooCube. This is a bit of a weird one. Hard to explain. It's a puzzle game. If you've played something like Zookeeper, perhaps, you know, where you have to line animals up in the same sort of lines and that sort of thing, it's similar to that in that you have to basically attach animals to this little cube and whittle it down so there's no animals left. That's the best way I can explain it, really. It's not, there's nothing too difficult about it or anything like that. It's not that in depth, but it has that one more go element to it. And this game is really cheap as well. It's cheap as chips, this one, for the GameCube game. And it's not bad, actually, so I quite enjoyed that one. So those were the GameCube games that I played. The only other Nintendo game I played recently, and it's on the Switch Online. Now, I really should have put this on ready, but this is a game for the Game Boy. So I've been playing it on the Switch Online Game Boy thing. And this is a Game Boy game that I've actually always wanted to play and also always wanted to sort of have physically as well. So I am kind of still on the lookout for a physical copy of this. I think there's like 3 Game Boy games that I still would like to have physical copies of. One of them is Mercenary Force, which is kind of a weird sort of side-scrolling shooter. And the other was, I think it's Quicks or Kicks, which is a bit of a puzzle game. QIX, I think that's how you pronounce it. And the other one is this game, Alleyway. Now, this is a really early Game Boy game, really early Game Boy game. It's basically Arkanoid, if you've ever played that. And it's so addictive. And I'd never really had a chance to play it on the Game Boy before. So I've been able to play it on this, and you can see it sort of in motion there. Yeah, horribly addictive. And I've just really enjoyed playing this. And I don't play on the Switch that much, I must admit. When I do, it does tend to be like the old school Game Boy games and SNES games and that sort of thing. So being able to play Alleyway has convinced me to try and find a physical copy of it. Not necessarily even boxed, just even if I could get a hold of a cartridge of it, I wouldn't mind picking that up. I don't think Alleyway is particularly expensive. I know Mercenary Force is a little bit more pricey, so I would love to play that, but maybe one day, we'll see. So yeah, I've been playing Alleyway on the Switch Online as well. Slurp. Cheers, everyone. Right, so moving on to Xbox. We'll have a look at the Xbox stuff that I've played. I've not played a huge amount of Xbox stuff again, actually, this month. I've played a couple of games on Game Pass. So I did play Doom 64. Been playing a little bit of that. Bit of Crash. Is it the Insane Trilogy? Played a bit of that. There was something else. Oh, I've played FC24. Obviously, the new FC game's come out. I've not played a FIFA game for years. Years and years and years. But I thought I'd give FC24 a quick go, and that was alright. It's just FIFA, isn't it, really? So it was okay. I'm sure there was another... Oh, Killer Instinct. I played Killer Instinct on Game Pass as well. Yeah, that's okay too. So the actual physical games that I've played. So again, Xbox One. I've been playing a little bit of Unravel. So I've not played Unravel 2 yet, but Unravel, and that's a good game. I've not played loads of it yet. I've probably gone through about, is it 3 chapters maybe? But yeah, stunning game, beautiful to look at. Very whimsical and is it cozy, like a cozy sort of game, puzzly, and it's a platformer. And yeah, surprised me actually. I've heard people talk about this game quite a lot, but never actually sort of played it. And I got this ages ago, really cheap. I think it was in like the game pre-owned sale a while ago. But yeah, I finally gave it a go, and yeah, Unravel, the first one, really enjoying that one. So I'm going to persevere with that and try and finish that. Enjoying that. And then I think Xbox 360, only a couple of Xbox 360 games. I did have a quick went back to this game. I played this one back in the day, and I remember when it first came out, it was an absolute buggy, glitchy mess. But it was still all right. It was still a decent game. Well, it's an excellent game, really. Crisis 2. So I did dabble in that again as well. And that, yeah, I mean, it is a good game, Crisis. 2. Amazing score. I love the score to this game. It's brilliant. But yeah, just it was only a very sort of quick go through the first few sort of missions or areas. So yeah, nice game that one, Crysis 2. And then I think the only other Xbox 360 game, and it's up, so I'm gonna have to get on the step, is, again, I've had this one for a while. In fact, I think I've had it for nearly 2 years. I got it from a car boot sale, and I think I only paid about £3. This game now in CEX has gone up to, I want to say £38. It is not a £38 game. Like a lot of these Xbox games, which we're seeing the value rise. Just because the value of them has risen doesn't mean that they're great games. I could probably pick out a few other examples of games that have just skyrocketed in price. I mean, we're not talking hundreds or anything like that, but they've become more pricey, and they're just rubbish. So just beware, some of these games in that 360 collection, 360 back catalogue that are pricey are still rubbish. And I wouldn't say necessarily this one's rubbish, but it just wasn't for me. I wasn't feeling it. Never Dead. Yeah, I really was trying to like this game. I put a few hours into it, and you just get that feeling sometimes where you just think, I'm not feeling this game at all. Very hard to describe. You're basically playing like a demon hunter who has been dead for 500 years. It's a third-person shooter. You sort of just hacking and slashing and shooting these really generic, actually quite bland-looking enemies. The gunplay feels really lightweight. It just doesn't feel like you're doing enough in the game. It's a bit strange to sort of explain, but the only other sort of gameplay element to it is that because he's a zombie, essentially, you can kind of like blast him to bits. So there's limbs everywhere, but they all kind of cobble together. And it's a little bit like Knack. If you've ever played Knack on the PlayStation, some of the puzzles are a bit like that. So you can only get to certain areas when you're in pieces on the floor, and you kind of all cobble together and go through small areas and that sort of thing. So that's an interesting element to it. But yeah, overall, it's just a very sort of mediocre game, just under mediocre maybe, and certainly not. I don't think £38 is a price to pay for this. I would certainly wait for prices to drop. If they do drop, they might not drop, but I wouldn't pay £38 for it. £3 was more than enough. Nice front cover though. It's a Konami game, so yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that one. And I think for Xbox 360, that is it this month. Onto the PlayStation stuff that I've been playing. Again, not loads of PlayStation games this month. I've not played any PS2 or any PS3, I don't think, actually. But we'll start with PlayStation 1. I'm gonna have to get the step again because they're at the top. So they did start to play this one, Reloaded. Yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed with this one, I must admit. I've heard people talk about Loaded, the first game, and saying it's really, really good. I don't know, maybe it wasn't quite what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a bit more sort of like the Chaos Engine or something like that, like a top-down kind of shooter. It just didn't flow. It didn't feel like you were... Yeah, it was just weird. I just didn't quite get it. I may try to give it another go. I mean, it was okay. It just didn't click with me again. And sometimes they don't, do you? Like I said, Never Dead. So yeah, Reloaded. I was a little bit underwhelmed with that one. And then this one. So again, I picked this one up not that long ago, and it's a game. When you buy a game and you get home and you put it on straight away. Well, that was the case with this game. Again, it's not a classic or anything like that, and I think actually a lot of people really dislike this game, but I quite like it. It's Star Wars Rebel Assault 2: The Hidden Empire. So I've been after trying to pick this up for a while. I used to have it back in the day, and yeah, I did play this, and I have played it through to completion because it's not that difficult and it's not that long. But I really just love it. You know what I love about this game is that it's kind of old school Star Wars in a way. This came out at a time before prequels. I think the original trilogy had just been remastered. So I think it kind of came out after that, but certainly before like the prequels came out, and certainly before Disney got hold of it. So it's very kind of old school Star Wars, and like I said, it sort of came out at a time when we were a little bit starved of Star Wars stuff, or certainly sort of new Star Wars footage. It's not like these days where every other week there's new TV shows or new films coming out about Star Wars. So when you're playing this and it has all the sort of FMV cutscenes with real live actors playing Imperial officers, and you've got rebels and even sort of Darth Vader scenes spliced in from the original films put into the cutscenes for this. It's just like new Star Wars, or new old Star Wars. Hard to explain. But anyway, the game itself is pretty basic. It's basically almost a Star Fox type shooter game. Not quite that sort of free roaming game that you get with like Rogue Squadron on the N64 and the GameCube. It's not quite as free as that. It's more like Star Wars, the arcade game, in a way, where you have a cursor and you're shooting stuff on the screen coming towards you. I quite like it. I quite like it. It's very rough and ready. There's just something wonderfully old school about it. So yeah, Star Wars Rebel Assault 2. And then we'll go to, I have of course been playing PlayStation VR. Not quite as much recently though, I must admit. But I have put a little bit of time into one of these, and I did dabble in another one. The first one is Blood and Truth, and I have been playing this one, and I'm not far off finishing it, and I think it's really good. One of the best VR games I've played, I think. An excellent game. Really enjoyed it. Did I put this? This was on my last PSVR video, so there is a bit of footage of that game in that video, so it's worth checking out if you've not seen it in action. But yeah, I really enjoyed that one. Really good game so far. And then the other game that I've tried, and I wasn't expecting to like this game. I picked it up quite cheap, again, sort of from, I think it was Games pre-owned sale, 50% off. And yeah, I'm not a massive Star Trek fan. That's a hint. So I wasn't expecting maybe to enjoy this. And I must admit, when I first put it in and played it, I was thinking, God, this is a bit much. It's a bit hard work, this. But actually, as I got into it, I quite enjoyed it. Star Trek Bridge Crew. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed playing what I played of this. And it is literally just you sat in the captain's chair, pressing buttons, ordering the people around, engage, all that stuff. Yeah, just got into it. Once you get hang of all these menus and all these commands and actions and what you need people to do, it starts to flow quite well. And I just started to get into it, and I didn't realise I'd sort of been playing it for a good few hours. And yeah, so interesting. I wasn't expecting to like it, but so far I have quite liked it. So yeah, Star Trek Bridge Crew. Then next up on PlayStation 4, so this was another game that I finished. I think last month I played Streets of Rage 4, really enjoyed that one. I fancied another scrolling beat 'em up, so I went and played Final Vendetta. And this is okay, it's not too bad. I did finish it. It's not the longest game in the world. It wasn't too difficult to finish either. But it's alright, it's another scrolling beat 'em up. It's one of those kind of genres of games that's having a bit of a resurgence recently. So yeah, Final Vendetta, did quite enjoy that. Yeah, not bad. Not quite as good as Streets of Rage 4 though. And then the second to last PlayStation game, and this was another recent pickup, and it's Resistance Burning Skies on the PS Vita. And this is pretty good. Really quite enjoying this one as well. Not finished it yet. Probably less than halfway through it. But so far, what I've played, I've really enjoyed it. I would argue that this is probably the best first-person shooter I've played on the Vita. I played Killzone what is it, Mercenaries? Yeah, Killzone Mercenaries, I think it's called. I'm going to have to check, otherwise it will bug me. I was right. I should just trust myself. Killzone Mercenary. It just seems to handle a little bit better. It's almost a bit more sort of simple in a way, but it's far more enjoyable for it. And yeah, really enjoying this so far. So much so that I think I'm going to have to go back and play the other Resistance games. This is seriously a series that they could bring back now, and people would buy it. I think people would buy it in a bucket load. Why they're sitting on so many of these kind of franchises, I do not know. But yeah, Resistance, Burning Skies, very, very enjoyable. Liking that. And last up, the game that has probably taken up most of my gameplay time this month. It's the game that everybody's talking about. Well, all PlayStation owners are talking about it anyway. A lot of people are calling for it to be Game of the Year. Again, who knows? Very subjective. It's got to be up there though. I haven't played a game like this that has. It's such a happy game. It's such a clever game. You can't help but smile at some of the stuff that's in this game. It's a pure nostalgia trip as well. And it's just, yeah, I haven't quite finished it yet. I'm not far off. Pixel Junior has finished it, of course. But yeah, I'm nearly there. Astro Bot. And what more can I say about Astro Bot? It's just a pure joy to play. I think what I partly love about this game, and the fact that it came out, is it came out with very little fanfare. They announced it at one of the PlayStation State of Plays or whatever it was, and then the next thing you know, it's out. It was literally 2 months, I think, after that. There was very little sort of hype, very little build up to it. And what an amazing game! They just sort of threw it out there, and it landed, and everybody just seems to be loving it. Most people, anyway. There's some people who are very hard to please these days, but yeah, just an absolutely fantastic game. Is it the world's hardest game? No. There are some parts of it which are absolutely infuriating. Like is it the sort of shape special little mission type levels? Some of them are pretty hard. Again, Pixel Genius managed to do it, but I am struggling with one or two of them. But overall, yeah, just absolute joy to play Astro Bot. Really enjoying it. Apparently, there's new DLC on the way as well. I think there's speed challenges and that sort of thing coming. So plenty more to play in it. And I think once you've finished it, it's one of those games you could quite happily start again and just go through it again. So yeah, that's the game that I've mainly been playing this month. If you haven't played it, thoroughly recommend it. If you don't have a PlayStation 5, is this the game that could sway you to get one? Maybe. Possibly a lot of money to spend on just this one game, but there are other games for PlayStation 5, obviously. But yeah, it is a fantastic game and just wonderfully old school, and I've really enjoyed it. Okay, so those were the games that I played in September 2024. Some of them I'm continuing to play, but yeah, I couldn't let today pass without just mentioning that I'm recording this on the 2nd of October, so I'm releasing it on the 3rd of October, and the 3rd of October is actually my official first birthday for this channel, which sounds really weird when I say it, that I've been doing YouTube videos for a year now. Yeah, it's been very cheesy to say this, but it's been quite a journey actually. I feel like I'm still very much learning, very much trying to integrate into this community, this gaming community on YouTube. But I really, really enjoy it. I absolutely love doing this, and putting the videos out, recording them, and everything, editing them. I just love every sort of part of it, and yeah, I feel like what I've sort of done with the channel over the year, I'm quite proud of it actually. Certainly, there's elements of it that I can do better. I know that, but yeah, I think I've done something like 96 long form videos now in that year. I've done about 30 odd shorts as well. But yeah, about 90 odd long videos. And I think most of them, if not, well, yeah, most of them have been sort of well received. Some of them have had very little views and that sort of thing, but it's all like a bit of a learning curve, I guess. But I guess like the sort of takeaways that I've had from this first year is it's quite a difficult thing to get into, and I think one of the hurdles is to begin with is having that confidence to jump in and do it. I know some people get very worried about putting themselves on camera. I don't think I've ever had that fear particularly. I maybe did in my first video. I was a little bit nervous and very green. But sometimes I think it's more that sort of becoming part of that bigger community in a way. And there's a lot of people on YouTube who have been doing YouTube for a long, long time, doing these sort of videos, retro gaming, game hunting, game collecting, gameplay videos, that sort of thing. And I think just sort of hoping that you can sort of integrate and fit into that little community was my sort of worry. you know, like almost like the new kid on the block, or it's almost like, you know, when you go into a pub you've never been into before in some local village, and you walk in and all the regulars sort of look around and go, who's he? So it's a bit like that kind of fear in a way. But in general, I feel like I've been sort of welcomed into this sort of community as well, and very thankful for that. There's loads of people that I probably need to thank, but because I'm doing this a little bit off the cuff, I haven't done any prep. But there's loads of people on YouTube who I, you know, really admire and really love their channels. Kai Mathy, B-Rad, loads of us, Retro Rummage, Tech Tucker, Donald Mackerel, Retroverse, CPS Arcade. Yeah, just loads of amazing channels, you know, the different sizes as well and experience. And yeah, just in a way, it's kind of sad as well, because I've sort of seen channels disappear as well and fade away, which it's kind of sad that in a way, I suppose. But if you don't enjoy it and you lose that, you know, drive to do it, then I can understand sort of why you would step away. But you know, one or two of them who have sort of faded away for different reasons, I kind of miss them as well. So I hope you probably know who you are, maybe maybe not, but yeah, it'd be great to see some of those channels come back, because I think feels like that this sort of game collecting community on YouTube is starting to thrive a little bit. So we'll see what happens anyway. Yeah, that's really just what I wanted to say. First year on YouTube, really enjoyed it. Really thankful for the support and help and advice and the views that you've been giving me. I think I've clocked in now, was it something like, I can't remember how many hours or how many views. It was some ridiculous number for me, what I thought anyway. 100,000 views or something like that so far. Loads of watch hours. So just, I'm very sort of appreciative of it, because I know not everybody on YouTube, you know, gets to get that kind of coverage. So yeah, just quite humbled by it sometimes when I see some of the numbers that come through. But makes me sort of even more determined to just press on and keep it going, keep it coming, and just keep on enjoying it as well. So anyway, I've rambled, waffled on, waffled on, and I'm losing my voice a little bit now as well. So I will end it here. Thanks for watching, as always. I do appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, if you want to hit that subscription button, that would be great. And I will see you next time.